Okay, good morning. Today we have, I think, page 67. Express your ideas. Discuss these questions in small groups. What kinds of things make you laugh?
Sure.
Page 67. Exercise A. What kinds of things make you laugh? شو هالصوت؟
سكروا المايكات يا جماعة.
سكروا المايك. What kinds of things make you laugh? On a personal question. What kinds of things make you laugh? Do you laugh? Do you laugh? What kinds of things make you laugh? Do you laugh? Do you laugh? Do you laugh?
دكتور أغلبك أي صفحة؟
I'm going to 67. Page 67. Exercise A. Express your ideas. What kinds of things make you laugh? Asif, what kinds of things make you laugh?
دكتور أنا عندي الصفحة بتقول إنه what the price per person for this trip.
انت هذا معناته بتكون انت بشابتر ثاني غير الشابتر احنا فيه. او اللي عندك الاديشن بتكون قبل الاديشن هاي.
Excuse me, doctor. Any page?
Page 67. Express your ideas. What kinds of things make you laugh? Ahmed? Safe?
If my friend fall in the ground.
When somebody or your friend falls in the ground.
Yes.
طيب آية؟
دكتور funny situation or jokes.
Like what, for example? Like what funny situation? Like what? Could you give an example of that? Funny situations?
Doctor, maybe when my friend fall to the ground.
طبعا سيف قالها. Yes, when your friend falls in the ground. Other situations. آية?
When my brother dancing in the street.
When your brother dances in the street, yes. Are they the same or different from the kinds of things that make your parents laugh? Do your parents laugh at the same thing? Do your parents?
No.
No. So The things that make you laugh is different from the things that make your parents laugh. Okay? Like, what's the funniest movie you have ever seen? What is the funniest movie you have ever seen? Do you watch movies?
Yes, doctor.
Safe.
Friends.
Safe.
Movie, its name Home Alone.
What?
Home Alone.
Home Alone?
Yes.
What made it so funny?
Because it's talk about a kid who is alone in the Christmas and his family is in another country. So there is two person who went to him in his house and want to steal his house.
Mhm.
And he make how I can say هو بحط فخاخ لهم.
يعني traps. He trapped them.
Yes.
He made the traps for them. Yes. Okay, good. What other funniest movie you have ever seen? Aya?
Doctor, Friends movie because it talks about funny situation between friends and their relationship with the friendship.
Okay. Friends, yes. Do you think jokes translate from one language to another? يعني can we translate مثلا English jokes into Arabic jokes or translate them from English to Arabic?
No,
No, why?
because it's hard to rephrase something in the other language.
يعني it is difficult, for example, to understand the culture of other people.
Yes.
طبعا jokes are cultural احنا نقول related to the culture. So it may be funny or it may be yes funny to for example to laugh at a joke in English, for example. But when you translate it into Arabic, it may not be funny. Maybe not funny. But who is the funniest person you know? Who is the funniest person you know? Who is the funniest person you know? Aya?
My cousin.
What makes him so funny? What makes him so funny?
Doctor, imitates animal sounds.
He imitates what?
Animal sounds.
Animal sounds, yes, because he imitates animals' sounds. Good. Okay. Page 68. Become a better reader. Do best to read the text on the following page and answer the questions in 4 minutes. Okay, now let's look at this passage and try to answer the questions in 4 minutes. Then you have 4 minutes to read this passage and answer the questions. طبعا لحق كل واحد يقرأ على حاله و answer the questions on this passage. Okay, question number 1. Question number 1. Salsabil.
Yes, the corn came website shows live pictures of corn plants.
Then the corn cam website shows live pictures of corn plants. Okay, next. Haneen. Safe.
The CornCam website has information about a other agricultural website.
Then the corn cam website has information about other agricultural websites. Haneen.
Corn is useful B for food and fuel.
Fuel, yes, good. Next, Dana.
People enjoy watching the images for corn growing because see, they find the desert
Pictures.
desert,
Pictures.
the pictures realizing and
Relaxing.
comforting.
Relaxing and comforting. Yes.
Sorry, doctor.
Relaxing and comforting. Page 70. Here we have a joke quiz here. A laugh a day keeps the doctor away. زي an apple a day keeps the doctor away. How funny do you think these jokes are? Match the questions with correct answers. Number 1. Safe.
Sorry, doctor, I forgot the hand. His eyes.
Page 70. Salsabil.
Number 1. Why do cows have bells? Because their horns don't work.
Yes, because their horns don't work. Yes. Is it funny? Is this funny? Is this joke funny?
Yes.
Yes. Number 2. Number 2. Salsabil.
Why do bees hum? Because they don't know the words.
Because they don't know the words, so they hum. What do you mean by hum?
اللي هو الذباب النحل.
Make the vibration sound.
Yes. Yes. Yes, there's like like this. This hum. Okay. Why? Then why do bees have why do bees hum? Because they don't know the words. Next. Ataf.
Why are Saturday and Sunday strong days? Because they're not weekdays.
They are not weekdays, yes. They are not weekdays. Next. Salsabil.
How do you connect a herd of cattle?
How do you count? How do you count a herd of cattle? Yes.
Of cattle with a calculator.
With a calculator. With calculator. Next. آية.
دكتور هي مش واضحة عندي على الكتاب بس راح أحاول.
Why didn't
Why didn't the
skeleton
go to the party? Because he had nobody to go with.
Yes, because he had nobody to go with.
Not funny.
Not funny. Okay. Next. Salsabil.
What did the traffic light say to the car? Don't look now. I'm changing.
I'm changing. Is this funny?
No.
And when I am changing, they like I am changing my clothes. Okay, don't look now. I am changing. I'm changing from color to color. Okay, next. Aya.
آسفة دكتور نسيت الرايز هاند.
Hmm?
نسيت الرايز هاند مش عارف أقرأها ولا أجاوبها.
Number 7.
What starts with P, ends with E, and has millions of letters? مش عارفة.
What starts with P, ends with E, and has millions of letters?
The
Smiles.
post,
Huh?
The post office.
The post office. لأنه post اللي هي P starts with P وend with office E. And his has millions of letters, yes.
Doctor, I think that's what that was a dirty joke.
Huh?
I think that was a dirty joke
Why?
because there is another thing that starts with P and ends with E.
What's it?
I can't say it.
Can't say it. يعني it's a dirty joke. Yes. Next. Haytham.
What word begins with E?
Number 8. Number 8.
Number
Yes.
8.
Yes.
What the longest word in the English language? International, not funny.
Then what word begins with E? Sorry. What is the longest word in the English language?
Dr. Smiles. There is
Smiles.
mile.
ليش? Why smiles?
There is a mile between its first and last letters.
مظبوط. It is there is a mile between S and S. Between S smiles and smile at the end of the word. Between S at the beginning and S at the end. في عندنا mile. So this is the longest word in English. Next. Salsabil.
What words begins with E, ends with E, and has one letter? Envelope.
Envelope. It then starts with E and ends with E. It has what? One letter. And you can only put one letter in it. عطاف.
Which month has 28 days? All of them.
All of them. All of them. Okay. طبعا we are done with chapter 3 here in this book. Now we'll move to the second book. شوف البوك الثاني لو intermediate English. Okay, نبدأ chapter 2 intermediate English.
دكتور متى راح نحل الواجب؟
نخلص اللي عندنا هون بالكتاب، خلص المنهاج وبعدين بنحلهم آخر شيء. اوكي بس خلص اللي عندنا. لأنه بعد عندنا تقريبا أسبوعين لنهاية الفصل. بعد ما نخلص الشابترز عندنا بالكتاب الأول والكتاب الثاني بنحل. راح أوديكم كمان أسايمنت. اوكي. طيب. اوكي بننتقل هون ل chapter 2. طبعا هون شايفين الاسم هاي اسمها تقريبا الماني، يعني لفظه شويه مش زي الانجليزي، زي نقول سكلوس نيوشوانتين. انا ما بعرفش الماني طبعا بس هاي الالماني سكلوس نيوشوانتين. What is this? Schloss is there.
A castle.
دكتور king and castle.
ممكن
His
king,
castle.
yes. يعني ممكن the name of the king أو the name of the castle. طبعا هنا before we read نشوف. ممكن تكون name of the king or name of the castle, but we don't know. Okay, now في عندنا pre-reading activities here. Pre-reading activities. Okay. What types of historical buildings interest you? What types of historical buildings interest you? Asif?
Buckingham Palace.
Palace. Yes. Buckingham Palace. طيب. Which of the following historical buildings and monuments have you visited? Angkor Wat, Buckingham Palace, the Eiffel Tower, the Great Wall of China, Machu Picchu, the Parthenon, the Pyramids of Giza, the Roman Colosseum, the Statue of Liberty, and the Taj Mahal. Right, Aya?
دكتور the Eiffel Tower because it's attractive.
Did you visit Eiffel Tower?
No, just I wish.
لو أنا بقول السؤال, which of the following historical buildings and monuments have you visited? Did you visit any of these places? No. Okay. طيب, which place would you like to visit of these? Which place would you like to visit? Ahmed?
The Roman Colosseum.
Why?
Because of its intricate design and maze-like tunnels.
Okay, good. Now we have what? A reading text. Now we'll know now what do you mean by this title. Okay. Who would like to read the first paragraph? Ahmed?
Skol's Neuschwanstein is one of Europe's most popular castles, located on a hill overlooking the village of Schwagen, near the town Fussen, in northern Germany. The 19th century castle attracts 1.3 million international tourists every year. Recognized as the model of Sleeping Beauty castle at Disneyland in Anaheim, California. Skol's Neuschwanstein must be seen to be believed, but to be fully appreciated as a fairy tale mystique. One must learn about the king who planned it and built it.
Thank you. Even here, we have what we call the place here we talked about in the title. احنا قلنا we look first at the title. إذا the title عندنا هنا إيش؟ The title is Schloss Neuschwanstein, a king and his castle. في عندنا this title, and a king and his castle. طبعا by looking at the title here, we can see it is the name of a king or it is the name of castle. All right, before we read. When we start reading, we know now what do we mean by Schloss Neuschwanstein. Then Schloss Neuschwanstein is one of Europe's most popular castles. Then this is the name of what? Of a castle. Huh? Where is it located? Located on a hill overlooking the village of Hohenschwangau. برضو هاي German village. Then this castle is located on a hill overlooking the village of Hohenschwangau, near town of Fussen in southern Germany. Then this castle is located where? In southern Germany. How old this castle? This 19th century castle. Then when did this castle, or when was this castle built? In the 19th century. So this is the 19th century castle. Attracts 1.3 million international tourists every year. Then 1,300,000 people visit this castle every what? Every year from different parts of the world. Then people from different parts of the world visit this castle. طبعا النمبر عندنا 1,300,000 people. Recognized as the model for Sleeping Beauty Castle at Disneyland in Anaheim. And this is considered what? A model for a Sleeping Beauty Castle. Then this castle is what? Is recognized as model for Sleeping Beauty Castle. Where is this castle, Beauty Castle? It is what? In Disneyland. Disneyland Anaheim. Where in Disneyland طبعا? Where is Disneyland?
In California.
California, in the United States. Then, Schloss Neuschwanstein must be seen to be believed. Then, you must visit this castle to believe in it, but to fully appreciate its fairy tale mystique. But to fully appreciate its fairy tale mystique. What do you mean by this here? Fairy tale mystique.
Mythical like.
What?
Mythical like.
Yani mystique, we can say that mystique is what? Is what we call a special thing, like fairy tale. Then one must learn about the king who planned and built it. Then people who visit this castle must learn about about the king who planned and built it. إذا نقدر نعتبر هاي الكسل is what? It is fully, or it is, we can fully appreciate its fairy tale mystique, the special character here, and to learn about what? The king who planned and built this castle. Okay. Then what's important about this castle? It is what? It is recognized as the model for Sleeping Beauty's castle at Disneyland. So people visit this castle to appreciate its fairy tale mystique and to learn about what? The king who built it and planned it. Ahmed, do you have any question?
No, doctor. I wanted to read the next paragraph.
No, we want somebody else to read the next paragraph, yes? Safe?
Paragraph number 2. Founding Otto Friedrich William was born to Maximilian II of Bavaria and Princess Mary of Prussia on August 25, 845 in Schloss Nymphenburg in Munich.
Yes.
The capital of Bavaria. His brother Otto was born 3 years later. At the age of 18, Ludwig took the throne after his father died of a sudden illness, and her reigned as King Ludwig of Bavaria from 864 to 886. On January 22, 867, he became engaged to Dutch Sophie Charlotte in Bavaria. After 10 months, he broke off the engagement.
Yes.
Ludwig never married or produced an heir, which in those days was unthinkable for a
Monarch.
monarch, with the exception of a platonic friendship with Empress Elizabeth of Austria,
Austria, not Austria.
Ludwig's closest friendship were with men.
Thank you. إذا في عندنا a person called Ludwig Otto Frederick William or Wilhelm. إذا this person is called Ludwig Otto Frederick Wilhelm, was born on 2 Maximilian II of Bavaria and the Princess Mary of Prussia in August 25th, 1845 in Schloss Nürnberg in Munich, the capital of Bavaria. إذا في عندنا person هنا called Ludwig Otto Frederick William. He was born into a family, طبعا family called Maximilian, the name of the family. The Maximilian or Maximilian the second of Bavaria. طبعا Bavaria, this is what? This is a place where in Germany. Then he was born to Maximilian the second and his wife, the Princess Mary of Prussia, when in August 25th, 1845, where in Schloss Nürnberg in Munich. Munich is in Germany. the capital of Bavaria. Bavaria اللي هي الستيت، هي المقاطعة أو الولاية. Okay. His brother، طبعا brother of ايش؟ Ludwig Otto. His brother is named ايش؟ is named ايش؟ Otto. Was born 3 years later. يعني when was he born؟ طبعا Ludwig was born on 25th of what? 1845. 3 days later شو بكون؟ 1840 what؟ ها؟ 1848 ولا لا؟ 3 years later. إذا his brother Otto was born 3 years later يعني in 1848. At the age of 18, Ludwig, حكينا عنه the first person here, took the throne after his father died of sudden illness. شو يعني what do you mean by took the throne?
تولى الحكم أو العرش.
Yes. After his father died. إذا his father died of إيش? What's the reason? Sudden illness. كان sudden illness. And he reigned as King Ludwig II of Bavaria. What do you mean by reigned?
Prevailed as a king.
Yes, يعني he became a king. إذا he reigned as King Ludwig II. هذاك شو كان اسمه his father? Ludwig I. هو إيش اسمه صار? Because he is what? The son of Ludwig I. He was named as Ludwig II of Bavaria. Then he reigned between or from 1864 to 1886. How many years? يعني 22 years, huh? 22 years. Then he reigned as a king for what? 22 years. On January 22, 1865, he became engaged to Duchess Sophie, Charlotte in Bavaria. What do you mean by Duchess here? Duchess.
خطب أو خطب.
لا, Duchess is the title. طبعا Sophie, Charlotte.
A part of the noble family.
مظبوط, yes. Then he became engaged. What do you mean by engaged? طبعا before you get married you get engaged. So what do you mean by engaged? Huh?
فسخ خطوبته.
No, he became engaged. مثلا when you say for example somebody became engaged شو يعني؟ He chose what? He chose a wife. طبعا في عندنا engagement وفي عندنا بعدين marriage. Engagement before the marriage. So he became engaged to Duchess Sophie Charlotte in Bavaria. Then what was his or who was his fiancée اللي هي Duchess Sophie Charlotte Bavaria. The name of his wife. But after 10 months he broke off the engagement. What do you mean by broke off?
فسخ خطوبته.
يعني finished the engagement. Then after 10 months يعني before the year. Then after 10 months he broke off the engagement. يعني he left his wife or he divorced his wife. Ludwig never married or produced an heir. Then after that he never married. Produce an heir. What do you mean by heir here?
Successor.
Yes, successor. Successor. What do you mean by successor? يعني أصلا to become what? A successor after his father. طبعا أنا king never get married. طبعا شو بكون بالأيام هاي؟ Unthinkable for a monarch. شو يعني unthinkable? What do you mean by unthinkable? يعني you cannot think of it. لأن إيه؟ What do you mean by monarch?
A king, a head of state.
Kingdom, yes. إذا when a king rules مثلا a country, he should what? He should get married. Why? To get what? To get hair. Why? Because when he dies, his hair will be the king. بس هذا Ludwig never married. فلذلك in these days we can say it is unthinkable for a monarch. يعني it is what? Cannot be thought of for a monarch. With the exception of platonic friendship with Empress Elizabeth of Austria. طبعا هو كان ايش؟ an exception he had what? Platonic friendship. شو يعني platonic friendship?
صداقة أفلاطونية.
Yes. Okay. صداقة أفلاطونية. Yes. With Empress Elizabeth of Austria. طبعا صداقة مع مين كانت؟ مع الإمبرس. ودون باي إمبرس.
إمبراطور.
إمبراطور. Yes. Elizabeth of Austria. ودون باي أوستريا. النمسا. هاي مش أستراليا، هاي أوستريا. Yes. Ludwig's closest friendship were with men. Then what were his friendship with? With men, not إيش? Not with what? Not with women. Then his closest friendships were with what? With what? With men, not women. Okay. Next. Ahmed.
Paragraph number 3. As a child, Ludwig told his governors that he wanted to remain an eternal enigma to himself and others. And in his regard, he succeeded. Ludwig spent most of his childhood in a Gothic castle of Hauswagen, surrounded by threescore of German sagas. He was raised with a strict sense of duty and a keen awareness of his royal status. His true interests, however, lay in poetry and theater, and he tended to spend more time alone indulging his fantasies than training to become a future king. Ludwig grew into a tall, slim, and handsome Prince Charming, with a shock of dark, wavy hair, full pouting lips, and wide, dreamy eyes that often gaze upward in portraits, as if at a distant dream world. In his later years, Ludwig filled out and wore a goatee, and his youthful wistfulness matured into aloofness.
Aloofness. Yes, good.
Aloofness.
هنا this paragraph talks about Ludwig as a child, يعني when he was a child. Then as a child, Ludwig told his governess. What do you mean by governess here?
مربية.
Yes, مربي, yes. Then a child, Ludwig, his governess, that he wanted to remain an eternal enigma to himself and others. Then what did he tell his governess? To remain an eternal enigma. What do you mean by enigma?
Mysterious person.
Yes,
لغز.
mysterious person, yes. Or logos, yes. To himself and others. And in this regard, he succeeded. Then he became eternal يعني for the rest of his life. Eternal enigma. He becomes what? Eternal mystery. Eternal mystery for himself and other people. And he was successful in that. Then he was successful in becoming enigma to himself and others. Ludwig spent most of his childhood in the Gothic castle of Hohenschwangau. Then most of his childhood was spent in Gothic castle. طبعا this is the name of the castle here. Surrounded by frescoes of German sagas. Then surrounded by frescoes of German sagas. What do you mean by sagas here?
Maybe nights.
يعني نقدر نقول sagas as a kind of what? Sequence of events. Continued sequence of events. He was raised with a strict sense of duty. Then he was brought up with a strict sense of duty and a keen awareness of his royal status. طبعا he was a king, so he was brought up with a strict sense. Strict means strict sense of duty. What does this mean? So because
إنه إحساس شديد.
Yes. طبعا king is raised in this way with a strict sense of duty and a keen awareness of his royal status. And as a king, he should be brought up like this. His true interest, however, lay in poetry and theater. What was his main interest? Poetry and theater. And he tended to spend more time alone. Then he spent most of his time alone by himself. Indulging. What do you mean by indulging here?
انغماس.
Yes. يعني involving his fantasies than training to become a future king. Then how did he spend more of his time? Alone? Involved in what? Fantasies. You have fantasies.
Dreams and wishes.
Yes, يعني he is living in another world. Then he was living or getting involved in what? In fantasies. Then training to become a future king. Then his interest was not to be a king, but he spent most of his time alone, getting involved in fantasies. Then
training to be
what? To become a future king.
Future king.
Ludwig grew in tall. طبعا بنحكي عن الفيزيكال features. Ludwig grew into a tall, slim, and handsome Prince Charming. Then he was tall and slim and handsome, and beautiful. Prince Charming, with a shock of dark wavy hair. His hair was what? Dark, wavy. Wavy يعني not straight. full pouting lips. Full pouting lips. And wide dreamy eyes. He had wide eyes that often gaze upward in portraits. I mean, his eyes, what? Most of the time gaze upward. Upward, yeah, to the something which is what? Upward. In portraits, as if a distant dream world. Yani he what? His eyes were gazing upward. In portraits, as if he was dreaming what? as if he had what? Distant dream world. In his later years, yani at the end of his what? Of his regime, Ludwig filled out and wore a goatee. What do you mean a goatee here?
A part of the beard.
Very short beard. Very, yani
Short
like a
beard
goat
that
beard.
grows on the chin.
Yes. Then he wore a goatee, and his youthful wistfulness. What do you mean by wistfulness here?
Complete,
Huh?
sad,
Yes, sadness, أو نقدر نقول longing. Matured, يعني become mature into a stern aloofness. What do you mean by aloofness?
صارمة. عزلة كان عنده عزلة صارمة.
Yes, يعني unfriendly. كان he was in isolation. He was in isolation. Then هاي this paragraph talks about ايش? Talks about Ludwig's childhood. What was his childhood about? I'm going to his childhood, he told his governess that he wanted to remain what? Enigma to himself and others. And he spent most of his childhood in the Gothic castle, surrounded by frescoes of German sagas. He was raised with strict sense of duty and keen awareness. His interests were what? Poetry and theater. And he spent most of his time alone, getting involved in fantasies, than training to become future king. And the second part of the paragraph talks about his physical feature. He was tall and slim and handsome, and he had wavy hair, full pouting lips, and wide dreamy eyes. But in the end, in the later years, he wore a goatee, and he became what? Isolated. Yani he sat with himself, by himself. Okay. Next paragraph. Safe.
Loading's lack of political experience and his shy nature made him ill-suited to the throne of Bavaria in 866, 2 years after his coronation.
Coronation, yes.
Ludwig
Ludwig, yes. Ludwig
experienced an humiliating defeat when he was forced into an alliance
yes.
with Prussia against Austria, feeling himself a mere political underlying to his uncle, the king of Prussia. Ludwig began to pay more attention to his personal interest than to his duties. He was an enthusiastic fan of the composer Richard Wagner. 3 months after becoming king, Ludwig invited Wagner to court. Despite the ups and downs of their lifelong relationship, Ludwig sponsored
Sponsor.
Wagner, a lovely child
lavishly, yes.
and saved him from financial ruin.
Ruin, yes.
Ruin. He also established Munich
Munich,
as
yes.
the music capital of Europe.
Thank you. طبعا لودويج كان ايش عنده lack of political experience. إذن Ludwig had lack of political experience and he was shy, mature. إذن what do you mean by shy? Shy.
خجول.
Yes. And then his shy nature made him ill-suited to the throne of Bavaria. شو يعني هنا made him ill-suited؟ يعني unsuitable for the throne of Bavaria. إذن what made him unsuitable for the throne of Bavaria؟ اللي هو إيش؟ His lack of political experience and his shy nature. إذن his shy nature and lack of political experience made him إيش؟ Unsuitable to the throne of Bavaria. In 1886, 2 years after his coronation, what do you mean by coronation here?
توبيخ.
No, not توبيخ.
تتويج.
تتويج.
crowning.
Yes. Yes. Then in 1866, 2 years after his coronation, what happened after 2 years of his coronation? Ludwig experienced a humiliating defeat. Then he had a humiliating defeat. What do you mean by defeat?
Loss.
Loss, yes.
أو
And
يحمي.
Ludwig experienced a humiliating defeat when he was forced into alliance with Prussia against Austria. Then he was forced into alliance. What do you mean by alliance here?
Partnership.
What?
Partnership.
Partnership, yes. Then he was forced into an alliance with Prussia against Austria. Then 2 years after his coronation, Ludwig had what we call a humiliating defeat when he was forced to have what? An alliance with Prussia against Austria. Feeling himself a mere political underling to his uncle, the King of Prussia. Then the King of Prussia was his uncle. What did he feel when he became allied with him? He felt himself a mere political underling. What do you mean by underling?
تحت الرقابة.
يعني ايش؟ inferior to his uncle. يعني he did not have the same status as his uncle. Then he was under his uncle. Then he feels what? A mere political underling to his uncle. Because he felt as a mere political underling to his uncle, Ludwig began to pay more attention to his personal interest than to his duties. Then, when he became under his uncle authority, he started to pay more attention to his personal interests. Yani, he looked after what his personal things than to his duties as a king. He was an enthusiastic fan of the composer Richard Wagner. Then he loved the composer Richard Wagner. What do you mean by enthusiastic fan?
متحمس.
Fan. When you love somebody, for example, you say you are a fan of that person. Then he was an enthusiastic fan of composer Richard Wagner. طبعا.
معجب.
Richard,
معجب. فان معناها معجب.
معجب, yes. طبعا هون الكومبوزر عندنا له musician له ريتشارد واغنر. 3 months after becoming a king. Then Ludwig became an enthusiastic fan of the composer Richard Wagner. 3 months after becoming king, يعني after 3 months of becoming a king, what did he do? Ludwig invited Wagner to court. He then invited Wagner to his place, to the palace. Despite the ups and downs of their lifelong relationship. What do you mean by ups and downs?
قياما وقعودا.
شو يعني ups and downs?
The fortunes and misfortunes of their
Yes,
life.
fortunes and misfortunes, or success and failures. Success and failures. Even despite the ups and downs of their lifelong relationship, Ludwig sponsored Wagner lavishly. What do you mean by sponsored here?
الراعي.
Gave him support.
Yes, support him. Even sponsored Wagner lavishly. Lavishly يعني ايش؟ What we call extravagantly. Extravagantly. Lavishly. Okay. And saved him from financial ruin. Then Ludwig sponsored Wagner lavishly, and he paid a lot of money on him and saved him from financial ruin. What do you mean by ruin? Financial ruin يعني ايش؟ Financial damage. Financial damage. He also established Munich as the music capital of Europe. Then he built or he made Munich as the music capital of Europe. Then his minister was what? In his personal things, than what? In becoming a king. Okay. Next paragraph. Aya.
Ludwig believed in a holy kingdom created through the grace of God, and he identified with larger-than-life heroes of a Middle Age saga and
Legends.
to turn his fantasies into reality. Ludwig built a beautiful castle which strangers were not allowed to enter. In 1874, construction began on the
relatively
small neo-French Rococo / Linderof. The Baroque royal place of ايش هاي دكتور؟ ايش هاي اللي بعد اوف؟
هاي طبعا اسم الماني هاي هيرنشيمسي
هي هاي began in 1878 and modeled on the
شمسي ولا تشاتيو دي فيزيلير ساكورا اسمها مش انجليزي يعني كلمات مش انجليزيه
was built on a
scenic island
Lake
شيمسي طبعا كلها اسماء المانيه طبعا يعني الشرط نعرف يعني لفظهم. اوكي. Now, Ludwig believed in what? In a holy kingdom created through the grace of God. Then what did he believe in? Holy kingdom. What do you mean by holy kingdom?
هو ملكوت مقدس.
Yes. Created through the grace of God. يعني this kingdom was created by what? The grace of God. And he identified with larger than life theories of Middle Age sagas and legends. شو بعتقد بالنسبة للكينجدم؟ إنها holy kingdom created by grace of God and identified with larger than life heroes. Life heroes of Middle Ages. Now, Middle Age sagas and legends. حكينا عن الساجاز and what do you mean by legends?
أساطير.
أساطير, yes. Then something which is what? Related to legends. To turn his fantasies into reality. Then what did he do to turn his fantasies into reality? Ludwig built beautiful castles. Then what did he do? He built beautiful castles, which strangers were not allowed to enter. Then strangers were not allowed to enter these castles. In 1874, construction began on the relatively small new French Rococo Schloss Linderhof. Then in 1874, our construction of the castles began on the relatively small Neo French Rococo Schloss Linderhof. What do you mean by Rococo?
دكتور هذا طراز فرنسي، اسم طراز فرنسي تايب.
Yes, مظبوط. It's a kind of what? Of French style. French style. And we're in building طبعا. Okay. The Baroque Royal Palace of Henschmisi began in 1887. Then he began what? This palace, the whole Baroque Royal Palace, in 1878, and modeled on the Château de Versailles, was built on a scenic land in Lake Chimsey. What does this mean? عم نحكي عن هون ايش عن where the palace is built. طبعا هاي هون الشاتو دي فيرسيلي برضه عباره عن ايش؟
برضه تايب.
طرازات من العماره، اوكي؟ Was built on a scenic island in Lake Chimsey. طبعا this palace was built on island. طبعا island وين؟ بليك شمسي. I know it is what the name of the lake Chimsey. Yes. Okay. Any question about this paragraph passage so far? Any question?
دكتور أنا عندي سؤال.
Yes.
إنه إيش البنفيت من هدول الباراجرافز اللي عم نقرأهم؟
أول شيء يعني reading comprehension read and understand. ثاني شيء يعني know something about إيش other cultures. طبعا
تمام.
لأنك إنجليزي تخصص إنجليزي لازم تعرف إيش عن حضارة خاصة الحضارة صاحبة اللغة. أوكي مشان تعرفي شو الكالتشرال ثيم شو الكالتشرال customs and so on. أي لغة ثانية تتعلمي لازم تعرفي حضارة اللغة تبعتها. أوكي لأنه تتعلم اللغة بدون الحضارة تبعت اللغة فبتكون مفصولة أنت عن الواقع ما بتعرفيش شو how the way of thinking of these cultures. لازم نعرف إيش عن culture of the language. Okay, then we stop here today and see you next week.